Welcome everyone. I was telling just a couple of you that sprinkled in the beginning that I was with Mary yesterday. And before we departed, Mary said, "Hey, I'm going to class tomorrow. What do you do the dragon dance?" I said, "No, we're not doing dragon dance." But there is going to be one little element of the dragon dance. So I'm going to go ahead and give you that heads up, because if you don't want to incorporate that, it's okay. But remember when we were here last week, the dragon dance, and then we brought the hands down and did the little dips, right? So that's the piece that's going to be mixed in, but we're not going to be spinning around. So you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So we'll go ahead and get started. This past week, I was leading up to the self-love mini retreat that I was doing yesterday, but it was also Valentine's, and I didn't mean to fall into all of my classes revolving around the aspect of love, but inevitably they did. And so we did the dragon dance last Monday when I was here with you to celebrate the Chinese New Year. But all my other classes that I did that you guys weren't a part of involved Rumi. Rumi being an inspiration for a lot of our practices that revolve around this particular topic. And so one of the famous quotes of his that I started with was, "Love is not just an emotion, it's our very existence." Love is our very existence. We were created by love for love to love. And then we talked about how love can build a bridge between us and everything, between you and everyone. And it made me start thinking yesterday, I even brought it up. I'm like, I wonder if the Judds heard that Rumi quote, and that's what inspired their song, "Love Can Build a Bridge." So think about how love has that capacity to build a bridge when there's a misunderstanding. You know, you can finally come together and communicate and clear things up. Love can build a bridge when maybe there's been a falling apart in a relationship, but maybe you're the person in the middle and you can see both sides of it, and maybe you could be the mediator, right? Love can build a bridge. It can also be a bridge between you and your own personal healing. But we have to practice self-love in order to be able for that to be medicinal. And then we talked about how one of my favorite quotes of Rumi concerning love is, "We are not here to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers inside that we've built against it." That to me is a very powerful statement, and something as adults that we should sit with. We get caught up in our routines and patterns, and we have this big thing called the ego with our personality and our likes and dislikes, but sometimes it's nice to be a little investigative, and that's what yoga and meditation can really help us to do, to drop in, to do that investigative work, to discover, well, what is the root cause of that in my personality? Is it because this person raised me and I just adopted it because that's how they are? Or is it because somebody told me something that may not even be true, but I believed it to be true and I kind of ran with that? Or is it due to an aversion because I was hurt in the situation, so I avoid those situations from now on and forevermore? When maybe we shouldn't be avoiding it, maybe there's something there for us to learn or to grow from. So when I ended last week with that particular topic, I had another class, and again, I woke up like, oh my God, here it is. It's still here, the whole love thing. And I was still inspired by that quote from Rumi, and it reminded me of the reference that Pink Floyd uses in Just Another Brick in the Wall. All in all, it's just another brick in the wall. And that is a metaphor for abuse, for mistrust, for people trying to have power over you, for any type of things that have hardened you, any type of trauma that may have harmed you or hurt you in some way. And we don't realize it, but we're just layering up the bricks. And it becomes a protection for the heart. And we all have a certain shield around the heart. But the yoga piece is exactly what Rumi said. What barriers have we built up against love, giving love, receiving love, feeling love, embodying love? And I want to take this a step farther today, for Mary especially, because she was with me yesterday, heard all this already. But I want to take it one more piece down the rabbit hole. Because Saturday, I thought, okay, I'm done with that. I got this retreat tomorrow, but I've got everything going for it. And then I listened to this woman, and I wish I could share her name, but I don't know it. And she was talking about Mary Magdalene. And she was talking about how we need to awaken the divine feminine within. And everything she was saying, she didn't bring in this Rumi quote, she didn't bring up Pink Floyd, The Wall, right? But everything she was saying was reminding me of everything we had been talking about last week. And she was saying such a powerful, important figure was just pushed aside and is not really revered as the important character that she really is. This is happening all over history, especially with women. I mean, just the Bible alone, Eve had to take the blame, right? Mary Magdalene, she was deemed a whore. We don't even know if that's true. It's actually not written there. It said that there were 7 demons that needed to be cleansed from her. But what does that really mean? Because when I look at the term 7, I'm like, ooh, 7 chakras, 7 gateways. It could be very symbolic. It may be more than just these evil sins, right? So just think about what the chakras represent, these energy centers. They have something they rule physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Shame and blame is all about second chakra. It was the shame and blame that he was cleansing from her. Who in this room doesn't have some ounce of shame or blame about something that has happened in our life? We all do. She was such an important character in that story. She was there at the cross. She didn't flee. She was there to witness it. She held space for him. I'm sure he could probably see her in the crowd. Some of the apostles scared for good reason, that they might be persecuted too. But she kept going on about the Mary Magdalene energy, the divine feminine energy. And it wasn't to put men down. It was basically to look at the divine feminine as being what has been pushed to the underground, what has been shoved to the side, what has been overpowered, what has been oppressed. That's kind of what the divine feminine represents. So it's in men, it's in women, it's not just a female thing. It's in all of humanity. We sometimes do it to ourselves. So the idea with looking to heal and awaken and bring about the divine feminine is to bring more love to the wounds, to bring more love so that salve for our spirit, to be able to acknowledge and accept and to forgive and to have compassion, for we know not what they do. They know not what they do. It could go either way. So it's such a good spiritual lesson that I hadn't quite thought about in the way that she described it yesterday. But that's another thing that's built a brick in the wall. So we'll do a meditation at the end in Shavasana, and we'll invite the Mary Magdalene energy. I want you to think about this. I'm not a churchy person, so I'm not preaching to you. But this is an important part of the story. Like, I love how Da Vinci, if you look at that famous painting of the Last Supper, she's in that painting. She was one of the beloved people in his group.
The Holy Grail is that her uterus was saved.
Yes, yes.
The Holy Grail.
There's so much to it. And who did he appear to? First. So I want us to meditate and bring her energy into the practice today. And when we do that, I want you to think about maybe think about over time and history and how humanity has just kind of put her to the side, downplayed her role completely. But yet it was one of the most vital ones in the story of Jesus. So anyway, let's begin on our backs, spread out in a wide star shape or X shape. Because remember last week with the dragon dance and celebrating the year of the wood dragon, this is the year to be seen. This is the year to be heard. This is the year to take action. And maybe a piece of that action is loving the pieces inside that may feel broken. So if you can, spread out your feet and take your arms up overhead. If that doesn't feel good to your back or shoulders, recreate another position. Notice if your arms are stretched out beside you or above you, how you get a little more stretch across your chest, which provides some openness for the heart. And I'm not talking about the physical heart, it's the metaphysical or spiritual heart that is the most important. Take a few rounds of deep yogic breath. Noticing where you feel the movement of your breath, not just the air entering and exiting the nose, not just the belly rising and falling, but where else do you experience this movement? Feel as though you're breathing into your entire body, taking that in-breath all the way down to the toes, and bringing the exhale all the way up into your crown. Let's begin to crack the eyelids open. And once you do so, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, lift your right arm, left leg. And then as you exhale, recline those limbs back down. Now lift the right leg, left arm. Inhale, release. Exhale, alternate limbs, lift and maybe even meet. And then inhale, recline back to the floor. And as you're shifting from side to side, make sure you're not just kicking and flaring the limbs. There's slow, mindful control occurring, operating from the shoulders and hips. But also notice with the slow, controlled movement of the legs, you're also working the lower abdominals. Now, if you want to add in the side obliques, the next time you lift an arm, lift the head up and cross over the abdomen towards the opposite side. Again, that's if you want the side oblique work. If you find that, well, I want the side oblique work, but it's not so great for my neck, then leave it out. Let's end with the right leg, left arm. Releasing back down to the floor. Sliding the feet in so the ankles are going to stack up underneath the knees, and bring your arms now beside you, palms face down. We're going to do abdominal breath flow.
So press down through the soles of the feet, tuck and lift away from the ground with your hips, and circle the arms up to align alongside your ears. As you exhale, roll it down one vertebra at a time, but once the sacrum lands, pick up your head and feet and curl in like a cannonball. And then inhale, land your feet, arms overhead, tuck the tailbone, lifting thighs, hips, abdomen, chest in bridge. Exhale, roll down, contract and curl in. So no need to rush the sequence. The mastery of the pose requires mastery of the breath. Doing one position on the inhale and doing the opposite, a counter position for the exhale. Last one. Now, once you recline your head down, we're going to separate the knees nice and wide, tree frog. Now, remove your hands from your shins, tap a hold of your feet for happy baby pose. And remember, there's a few different ways to do this. Some people really like the peace mudra, 2 fingers around the big toe, pulling down. Some people enjoy holding the outer edges of the feet. And my preference is taking the hands to the insoles at the arch and then pushing down. You're going to get a completely different sensation and effect with each one of those hand holds. And I see a lot of you are trying to be June bugs because you're kind of rolling around on your back. And it's okay. You can be static and still, or you can rock and sway. Gonna take one more deep breath. And then I want you to remove your hands from your feet and lift your, or flex your wrist rather, so that the palms are facing the ceiling. Create Sphinx arms in midair. Then scoop in through the belly, working the rectus abdominis muscles so that your elbows come to the inside of your knees and you're pushing your knees into your arms. And then instead of looking through the legs, you actually tilt your head back just enough so you're gazing right beyond your fingertips. Keep squeezing the knees to the arms. Keep your arms parallel. A supine variation of our crow. And then gently release the head and neck. Flip your hands up underneath the crease of the knees and start to rock and roll forward and back. Sometimes I'll ask you to work the abdominals more, but you don't have to today unless you just really want to. If you're wondering what that means, it means try not to land to your neck or your feet. And the next time you come up, separate your feet. Give a little push with your hands behind you and land in your Malasana squats. So in your Malasana squat, it's okay if you need your hands to help you to balance. It's okay to roll up a blanket to create a perch for your heels. It's okay to push the elbows into the knees, so you're separating your thighs wider, opposite of what we just did on our backs. And it's okay to lift up high through the heart, through the crown of your head. And if you enjoy the yin version, you can relax your elbows, bow your head to prayer hands, and get a little heavier through the hips. So yogi's choice there. Remember this energy field that we're working into now. The demon here, or the thing that works against us, is shame and blame. Can we send and sprinkle some love into whatever situation or scenario in which we felt ashamed or to blame? Bring grace to yourself. Let's bring the fingertips now down to the floor. And we're gonna slowly sail the sit bones up and turn the toes forward, but we're gonna keep the legs wide as we hinge down. We're still in our warm-up phase. And we need to warm up the hamstrings. So allow yourself to kind of dangle here and just let those muscles begin to awaken. In a lot of the Eastern cultures, they believe we hold our past in the back side of the body. So think about any stress, tension, worry, lingering from the past to just drift away. So I'll take a cleansing breath. Breathe in through the nose, out audibly through the mouth. Good. Heel, toe your feet more together, but the heels are going to touch and the toes are going to turn away. Now, it's kind of like the stands for ballet, so I'm told. I was never a dance person. Lift your heels, bend your knees, let them splay open and come towards this variation of squats. Okay, and then we're going to do the Kundalini. So the Kundalini form is really fast. So short, sharp inhale, exhale through the nose, and the heels stay off the floor. So it looks like this. Now, when we inhale and straighten the legs, we look down, and when we come back to the squat, we look out. Okay, you ready? I'm not going to make you do it as long as Kundalini would. If you're in a Kundalini class, they'd be timing you for like 3 minutes. Unless you want me to. Okay. All right, drop to the squat. All right, walk your hands out in front of you. Bow your head between the arms. And you're welcome to stay here because the hands can really help with the balance. However, if you want to amp up the challenge, you can lift one hand at a time and you can swing that arm back as it circles around the knees, the back of the hands close to the outer thighs, and let the head spill just a tad more. The back is rounded, you're balancing on your feet. The heels are off the floor. All right, let's bring the hands back in front of us. Turn your toes to face forward. Now drop your heels and take your Uttanasana. So we did a wide stance forward fold earlier. This might be a little bit more intense. Give in to gravity with your upper body. Make sure your arms aren't locking straight so that your spine can really release. Affirm me here as you hold. Nothing and no one on this earth can hold me down or back. I choose to break down the barriers I have built against love. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift your arms up. Utkatasana, chair pose. All right, from your chair position, roll your pinkies in, fly up to your side traps. Exhale, fold, straight legs. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left foot's gonna step back. Arms are gonna uplift. Crescent lunge. Exhale, wing the arms back. Open the gates of the heart. Inhale, bring the arms up, look straight ahead. Exhale, again, open the gates of the heart. Woo. Inhale, lose my balance. Exhale, bow back. Inhale, arms float up. Exhale, hands to the inside of the right foot, heel toe that over, crouch down, look right. Inhale, straighten your arms, Neutralize your neck. Exhale, gaze to the right. Inhale, one more, lifting up. Exhale, dropping low. Good, inhale, coming up. Step back, length. All right, shoulder stacking over wrist. Left knee, right arm. Plank. Exhale, right knee, left arm. Inhale, plank. Exhale, left knee, right arm. Plank. Right knee, left arm. Plank. Good. Rock forward, lower it down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold, breathe. So that plank, sending the knees on the underside of the belly towards the opposite arm, is something that I'm inviting into the practice today. If you find your heart starts racing, your breath goes awry, you can sink to child's pose, right? Please don't force it. All right, inhale, left foot steps through. Come on up, crescent. If your balance is really off, you can also do it from warrior one. Open up the heart center. That's our portal for love. Inhale, crescent. Exhale, weaning out the arms. Inhaling up. Exhaling back. Inhale, arms stretch skyward. Exhale, bring your hands, heel toe the left foot over to the side. Chaturanga style, but gaze left. Inhale, push up. Exhale, hunker down, gaze left. One more. Inhale, up to plank. All right, here we go. Left knee, right arm. Inhale, plank. Exhale, right knee, left arm. Inhale, plank. And then keep going. Crossing it under and over. Last one. All right, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, everyone take child's pose. Pause. Notice where you're at. Notice how it becomes a little cardiovascular. But I want to push the pause button because I want us to slow the breath and heart rate down. You don't want to stress the mind or body. I'm trying to de-stress the mind and body. And to seek and search internally for any barrier that we've built against love. Inhale, rock up, hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Now, please know what I'm about to suggest is not something you have to do because there's different ways to bring the feet to the top of the mat. But I was going to suggest and invite you to look forward towards your hands, to bend your knees, and to try to float the feet to the top of the mat. Hands to shins, lengthen through the spine. And then exhale, release. Good, inhale, chair. Utkatasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. In and lift halfway. Out and lower the head and heart. Inhale, left foot steps back. Left palm is going to plant down. Inhale, reach the right arm skyward. Exhale, loop it underneath that front thigh, bow your head to lift the hand. Inhale, follow the hand up. Exhale, follow it down. Inhaling up. Good, beautiful breath. Exhaling down. Inhale, let's hold the twist. Spread out your left fingers. Push down through that left palm. Be strong in that left arm. And see if you can twirl a little bit more through your belly, through your chest. Good. Exhale, right hand to the inside of the right foot, heel toe it over. You know what to do. 3 dips. Use your breath. And then as soon as you come up out of the third, right foot back plank. Oh, and here we go with the knees. Crossing under and over to the opposite arm. Simple, but not easy, right? Rock forward, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. It's warm in here. You good with it or you want a little air?
Good.
Inhale, left foot steps through. We're gonna ground the right palm to fan the left arm skyward. Exhale, loop it underneath that front knee. Follow your hand. Follow your breath. And in this fourth twist, we hold. But start with your right hand. Draw the energy up through the right arm. See if you can spin more through your belly or chest. Exhale, left hand to the inside of the left foot, heel toe it over. 3 dips. And then step back, plank. And then you can take a child's pose or work your abs. Good, one more vinyasa. But from up dog, pass back through child. Take the weight off your wrist. Let your elbows collapse down. Monitor your breathing. Monitor your self-talk. Practice warm, loving, kind communication with yourself. Inhale, arms reach out. Rock up hands and knees. Exhale, down facing dog. And from our downward facing dog, make sure you're really extending through your limbs, through your spine. Even if that means lifting your heels higher to create as high of a pinnacle as possible for this pose. Bend your knees, bring some buoyancy into the lower body. See if you can float the feet to the top of the mat to Ardha Uttanasana. And then drape to Uttanasana. Inhale, chair. Exhale, Samasthiti. All right, we got more. Inhale. This is our last sunset, by the way. Exhale, tip forward. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, bow back over. Inhale, left foot back. Coming up, crescent. Exhale, accessing the portal of the heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down, frame the foot. Inhale, right arm sweeps overhead. Exhale, thread, follow the hand underneath. Inhale, open back to the twist. Exhale, right hand to the inside of the right foot, heel toe it over, and dip once, and come up. Good, right foot, plank. Left knee, right arm, plank. Right knee, left arm, plank, just once. Come down to chaturanga. Inhale, bloom. Exhale, invert. Appreciate your breath. Appreciate the health of your body for being able to move this way and to be here today. Left foot steps through. Arms lift up. Exhale, expand. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands frame the foot. Good, stack on the right hand. Sweep the left arm skyward. Exhale, loop it under. Inhale, reach west. Exhale, heel toe the left foot over. Dip once. Gaze left. Inhale up. Good. Step it back, plank. Right knee, left arm, plank. Left knee, right arm. Just that once. Come back through the vinyasa. Setting up for child. So just consider for a moment what we've been kind of working with. We're going to play with the chaturanga aspect one more time before we get up and move to a different flow. So let's inhale, come forward to table. Exhale to downward facing dog. So from here, your right leg's going to lift up. As you exhale, you're swinging it to the outside of your right hand. All right, we've already been here. And we are going to dip. But our head stays the same. We're not turning. We want to send that knee to glue to the arm so that when we bend the elbows like chaturanga, we're carrying the right leg with us. Flex and float the foot. Step it back, chaturanga. Come to up dog. Out to down dog. Isn't that fun? Left leg lifts. Bring it to the outside of the left hand. All right, so this knee is going to squeeze to the arm. Now, it's hard to imagine picking that foot up right now, isn't it? But think about all the elements you already know. Scoop the arms in, bend the elbows back, let the arm carry the leg as the foot flexes and floats away from the earth. Chaturanga, up dog, child's pose. Circle the arms around you and wiggle the fingers as the palms face up. And one more breath. Now, lift your head up. Slide the back of the hands alongside your knees. Palms still facing up. Just to give a little counter stretch here. And then we're going to end these sun sals. So take your arms forward and launch into down dog. Now, when I'm suggesting to hop forward this go round, instead of having the feet side by side, we're actually going to hop forward into a squat. So bending the knees, dropping the tailbone. Now, if you have tender, sensitive knees, or you're worried about balance, don't do this. But if you feel good in your knees, and you can swivel back and forth between the feet, you're just kind of rocking side to side. Take your time with it. Good. Now, bring yourself back to center. Take your left arm and just gently, kind of gently shoving into that thigh. Sounds aggressive. I don't know another way to say it. And then reach that right arm out of that. So basically, we're just trying to prop the hip open. Do you feel it with that arm? Is that where one of your bricks are? All right, bring that right hand down. Same thing. So the right arm sweeps back, but you're also pushing lightly into that knee in order to carry the left arm out and up into a twist. And then bringing your hands back down to prayer. All right. Is your block accessible? You can grab it as you come up. Turn the feet forward. We're going to put the block between the thighs. We're going to bend the knees and drive the thighs back so that we can see the toes. So keep looking at me while you're holding this block in place. The reason why we're going to use a block with our feet separate to keep the thighs together is because if we go into this pose, this is what typically happens. This knee is going to shoot forward. This hip shoots back. We're all wonky here now. And we're going to try to maintain some symmetry as best we can, even though we're going to take the twist. So hands to prayer. Squeeze that block. And when you twist to the right, it's okay for you to hover. So don't find that you have to place the elbow to the knee. But if you can duck down low enough to do that, what you're going to do is push into that leg with your arm so that you can dial your heart more towards your hands. Got it. And that's going to help maintain alignment in the lower body and sacrum. Nice. Okay. Inhale. Stay low as you come up, hands to prayer. And we'll take that to the opposite side. Remember, if the hands are close to that left shoulder, you want to spin through the barrel of your chest more. Nice adjustment, Brian. I just happened to see you do that. Awesome. All right, exhale, unwind. Come up. All right. Some of you know what we're doing. Our balance line. So we've been working on this. Chaturanga arms, even supine on our backs, Sphinx arms. We have been working on opening the hips. We have been working on strengthening the core. And now we get to try side crow. Now, we're not going to use the block for side crow, but I want our knees to stay together. So we're going to bring the ankles and the knees together, so that when we're here going into the twist, they're less apt to do that slide, right? Okay, so when you're ready, ankles together, knees together, hinge, twist. Now, if you want to go to side crow from here, I want you to notice how your feet are facing. Your hands are going to come down, shoulder distance apart, facing the front of the room. Your thigh rests in the outer left arm. Your head is up, looking forward. And then this is where you depend on your upper body strength to lift, flex, float the feet. And when I was first learning, I took one foot and hooked it up underneath the other in order to lift it. That's it. Yep, that's what I would do. So a little trick of the trade here. When you come out, that's a hard pose, right? One thing to remember when you're coming down with your hands is there's no way to balance with the shoulders way off. So think alignment, alignment, alignment.
shift, then lift. Okay, so we're trying to stack shoulder bone over elbow, elbow, not so aligned over the wrist because the arms are bent, but the general idea. Feet together, knees together, do the twist, hands down, shift your shoulders. I know it's a lot. And I feel so out of breath right now. Even with the child poses. And then you practice for a little bit. Okay, guys, do you have any questions? That's just one way of getting into that pose. Some teachers teach send your hands the other direction so that your feet are behind you, and then you lift your feet and you swivel around. That wasn't the way I learned. That's what came up later. But if that works for you, it's great. Do you do that version?
Yeah.
Can you show us?
I don't know if I can do it on this side.
See how she's turning the hands to the side of the room instead of the same direction as the feet. Yeah, she did it. So you may find that way to be a little bit easier. Want to move on? I feel like I'm losing interest here. Halfway back on the mat. Because you were just practicing the harder version of crow. But before we move into crow, and I know some of us are still trying to find our breath too. Think of the yin yang symbol. What does the white represent? You might have the masculine, the light. What is the black represent? What's represented as the black? I want to pose the question to you. Do you find crows to be a positive omen or a bad omen? Most people think bad because of Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
It's actually positive. If you look back at the spiritual meaning of the crow, it's clever. It's intuitive. Like it's got the feminine energy with it. But yet again, the feminine energy pushed to the side. It's bad, it's wrong. That's what we need to discover internally. What do we look at as being bad or impure? That's part of that shadow. And if we want to heal it, we have to bring love to it. All right, so halfway back. Let's do toe balance for this. There's different ways you can do it. You can actually do it from squat too. But then you're gonna lift your hips and set your hands shoulder distance apart in front of you. Now this already may be hard. Maybe you can't crouch down and flatten your hands. Maybe see if you can get blocks underneath your hands to bring the floor to you. But going towards the crow, we need to scoop the arms down and under. Shift to the tips of the toes by lifting the heels, rocking forward so that we can point the toes and elevate the feet. Usually that one's easier than the side crow. Yeah. A millisecond counts. It does, it really, really does. Because that millisecond will turn into 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Because you're tuning in, you're becoming more aware, your muscles are kicking in, you're recruiting the other muscles required. And then you have to find the trust in yourself, the faith in your body, the confidence to do it. You have the skills, you've been warmed up. You just have to apply it all together. All right, last thing I'll suggest, if you really like crow, I was gonna take us to crow to headstand to chaturanga, too much today. I'm feeling it too. So if you wanted just to practice maybe your crow to headstand prep, I'm not gonna do that.
Or you can bounce the legs back, chaturanga. So you don't do anything with your arms. Your arms are basically the same. You just kick your legs back straight. And then your toes will land. And then you'll be in chaturanga. And if you don't want to try that, there's another pose after that. I'll just lead you into it. So those of you that want to try it, go ahead. Anyone that wants to skip it, take your supported bridge. Yeah, Brian, he did it. That was beautiful. Oh, I'm sorry, I was. Yes. All right, now my suggestion in supported bridge, I want you to consider how much we've been flexing the hips, right? And we were even crossing the knees under. So even though you're not necessarily flexing so much here, see if you can extend your legs and just let that kind of stretch open. And if it doesn't feel good to your back, you don't have to stay. And sometimes, Elizabeth, I have to just do one leg at a time. Yeah. I don't know if you were kind of testing the waters there. My left side doesn't always want to straighten, but my right side's usually happy with it. Depends on the day. What's happening in life? Oh shoot, I left the whole sequence out. It was our boat poses. You want more forward? Just kidding. We're done. We're gonna be done. Yesterday I didn't do the child poses in the mix. So I had a little bit more leeway. I'm gonna dim the lights. And you can lift away from your block. And I want you to curl in and determine how you want to set up for Shavasana, because I want to lead you through guided meditation. So even though Shavasana is meant to be restful, and I want it to be restful, the practice was really preparing us to meditate. And I know all of you in here have a regular practice. And I know you've meditated before. So I want you to just drop into your body. Utilize your breath. Gaze up into your mind's eyes if you were looking towards a movie screen. I want you to consider for a moment how the chakras run from the base of the body to the crown of the head. And there's 7 major centers or gateways. And the base, the bottom, the foundation, is typically colored red. And it moves up to orange in the sacral area, yellow in the solar plexus region, green and pink in the heart, aqua blue at the throat, indigo blue at the third eye, and purple at the crown. I find it interesting that Mary Magdalene's energy is depicted a rich blood red. The base. Like she was pushed to the underground.
when Mother Mary's energy is often depicted a beautiful blue. So I want us to invite the energy of Mary Magdalene in, picturing that rich, brilliant red coming up through the soles of our feet. Feeling our feet moving up through legs, this root chakra. But instead of stopping the red at the pelvic floor, I want you to carry this rich, brilliant red, this Mary Magdalene energy up into your pelvic region, up through the upper half of the body, across the wingspan of your arms and hands, and let it even fill up your head. And let this red represent love, passion, purpose. In the mix of your body turning to red, I want you to imagine at your heart is blooming the most beautiful red rose. The petals move upward towards the sunlight, blooming in all of its beauty. And if you've already pinpointed a time in your history, a wound with your inner child, a misfortune that you've encountered, situation that deemed you unworthy, lies that were told to you that you took on as truth, I want you to sprinkle that with love. Bathe it in love, grace, mercy, forgiveness, accept. And then with that one incident or hurt, maybe pose the question, is there someone that has stopped sharing love with me? Or someone I had to break my love away from? And if it was for protection for your safety, leave that alone. Keep the separateness. But if it's someone else, that maybe there's been just like a misunderstanding, picture them in your mind's eye, standing in front of you, a golden thread moving between both of your hearts. The gold represents the highest frequency, and love is the highest frequency. And feel that golden cord being carried between both of your hearts and even creating the shape of infinity between both of you. For love is infinite. There's any parts inside of you that you turned away from, and chose not to follow. Bring that in. Seal it with gold. Start to slowly deepen the flow of the breath. That bold and red begin to soften. Light. You can even picture it more of a rose gold. Or with a pink hue. Something a little bit more dainty and feminine. Because that pink represents the higher heart. Inhale, let's stretch the arms overhead. And as we exhale, hug the knees in. Move to one side of your body. Rise to take a seat. Bring your hands to prayer position at the front. Light and the love that I hold within my heart bows respectfully to the love and the light that you hold within yours. Let's all remember to honor, to awaken the divine feminine. Let's all remember this is the year to be seen, to be heard, to take action. Let's go away from this practice, feeling inspired to continue to live and be yoga. So much for coming in. So again, not to get preachy because I don't know, but I grew up 35, so there's that. Recovery. But is it not true? Some of you that may have been brought up Catholic. Isn't the rose, is it the white rose symbolic of Mother Mary? A white rose. So have you ever thought about, I never thought about this. Why that flower? Because he rose. Isn't that interesting? Someone told me that last week. I was like, oh, I've never thought of that. That'd be cool. Anyway. Have a beautiful day and week.